Today's Amud is Brachas Taf Chof Beis on base. We're in the Mishnah in the second white line. If you have questions, please comment, please question, leave a comment. I'll try and answer if I see a question. I'll try to comment. And we learn today in Nishmas. Yehuda Bas. Yehuda Bas. Rachel Bas Yehuda. And Avram ben Aaron Yitzchak, and Alexander ben David, and Pelazisa Bas Avram. Says the Mishnah. This guy is standing, he's praying, Shmoyne Esra, V'nizkeshu Bakari, and he remembers, I just remembered, I'm Tomei, I've got Tumas Kari, Lo Yafsik, he shouldn't finish davening, he shouldn't cut off, Ela Yikatzer, he should cut it short. Rashi says, what does Yikatzer mean? Rashi says, Kol bracha bracha. Say each bracha, one word, say the bracha quickly, don't say the whole tefillah, do it short, but say each bracha, a shortened version. Yarad Litval, if he goes to the mikvah, he went to dip in the water, Im Yachal if he could get out of the water, Vilis Chasles and get dressed, Vilikris and say Krishma, Ad Shaloi Teya Netzachama, before sunrise, Yalav Yischasav Yikra. So if the guy can go to the mikvah, dip, get dressed, dry off, say Krishma before Nates, you should do that. Vimlav, if he can't, what should he do? There isn't enough time. Yiskasav Maim V'Yikra. He's in the water, he should cover himself in the water, he's already in the water, so don't come out of the water, keep your body in the water, and say Krishma. In other words, the problem here is you're not allowed to say Krishma if liboy royas erva. You have to have something between your heart and your erva. You have to have a belt. That's why you're supposed to wear a belt. You can't just wear like a big shawl, a big what do they call them? Poncho. You have to have a belt that something is blocking between your private part and your heart. But so if you can get out and get dressed, do that. Great. But if not, the water itself, that's a mechitza. That's like a barrier between your heart and your erva. And therefore, stay in the water, right? And you can say Krishma in the water. So says the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah. You can't have dirty water, filthy water. Water Mishra is water of Ashes with flax. Unless you pour water into it in order to make it not smelly water. And how far do you have to be? And this is what our gemorah is going to be discussing today mainly. How far do you have to be from this dirty water? How far do you have to be from tsoya to say Krishma, to daven? How far do you have to be from feces, fecal matter? Arba amas. You got to be 4 feet away. Tana Rabbanan. We learned in the Brisa, you shouldn't stop, cut short. If someone's reading the Torah, and then he realizes, I'm impure, what should he do? He shouldn't stop where he is. Rashi means you should read it quickly. You should read the Torah, but finish up quickly. Read fast. Megamgam. Some say megamgam means don't say Shem Hashem, or you mumble the words. Rashi says read it fast. Rav Meir Omer, Ein Balkari Rishai Likas B'Torah Yes V'Gilbim Psukim. A Balkari is not allowed to read more than 3 verses. They explain that when you read the Torah, when you're Eileh Torah, you're not allowed to read less than 3 psukim to make a bracha. You always read 3 psukim. So that's what he's saying here. You do your 3 psukim that you have to do, and then you're done. So based on that, it looks like he's talking about someone that's, they used to be Eileh, and the guy who had the aliyah, he read the psukim in the Torah. So a guy's called up, he realizes, oh boy, I've got Tumas Kari. So read it quickly. That you read everything quickly. You read it quickly, and carry on and go down. Okay, Tanya. The Brisa says, Tanya Ida Chayim B'Tefillah V'Rat Kenegdai. And this is where we're getting into today's sugya. It's a very complicated sugya. We're not going to do it justice, I'll tell you right now, but we're going to try. Hayayim b'tfilah. This guy's davening. V'ratzai kenegdeh. He sees in front of him fecal matter. So what should he do? Mahalach l'fanov. He should keep going. Ad shizaken lachar v'dalad amas. He's got to wait till the feces is behind him 4 amas, roughly 2 meters. You can't pray if the feces is within 2 meters of you. So he's walking in the path, or he's standing there praying. He sees something in front of him. He's got to keep going 2 meters and then daven over there, right?
Even no matter where he is.
Yeah, he's got to stop, keep going. We're going to see if he has to start again from the beginning. The gemorah asks, "Vatanya letstadim." Why does he have to go in front of it? Why does it have to be behind him? We have a different brisa that says even if it's on the side of him. Why does he have to be in front of it? So Gemara says, you're right. L'stadim is okay, but if you can have it behind you, better it's behind you than on the side. So what are we talking about over here? So the Achronim explain that he's got to be facing Yerushalayim, right? And if the feces is on the side, right, it doesn't matter how much he walks, it's still going to be, let's say, on the side. So, but how? So he could, as long as he distances himself 4 feet from it, that's okay. The Mishnah seems to imply he's got to be behind him. He's got to keep walking until it's, directly behind him. Gemara, and the Brisa seems to imply that it's okay if it's on his side. That's Gemara's kasha. The Gemara answers, if he can get it behind him, if he can walk, go over there, that's fine. But when he can't, it's fine if it's to his side for Amos also.
Because you can see it. Otherwise,
he can. Well, it's on the side. He can't really. But when it's not in Dalad Amos, it's not in his rishus. Right. He can't smell it, and there. Yeah, that's true. Like kasha, this guy's praying, right? Now the Rishonim saying this doesn't mean he's praying in a shul, and oh my gosh, some kid left something there, right? It's talking about he's in a path, he's in the forest, where it's a place where you could find feces. People do leave stuff over there. So therefore, he's praying, he's like, wow, he looks down, he sees by his feet feces. So what should he do? Omarabba, Afapi Shechata, even though he sinned, Tfilasai, even though he sinned, it's still a good tefillah. His prayer counts. So why is it a chet? Because he should have checked where he's praying. Look down, check where you are, like what's going on over here. Since it's a place where you could see feces, look around before you pray. Don't just start davening in the middle of the street. So, but if he's in a place where, if he's in a shul, or if he's in a place where he's in a building, you don't find these things on the floor, right? Then it's not called yushchaita. You don't have to check. It's not shchiach. You don't find it there, right? So, mas kifla Rava asks Rabba. Why is it a tefillah? Why are you saying it's a good tefillah? It's called zevach hashoyim te'eva. When when someone evil brings a korban, and they do, it was a common thing, and back in the old days, in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, Rishonim came to the Beis HaMikdash, and they brought korbanos. They also wanted to, you see, very common, the most wicked people, they act like they're religious, and they're bringing korbanos, they're praying, they're busy talking about how, God tells me this, and I love God, and they're full of it, right? So, zevach hashoyim te'eva. When the Rasha brings a korban, it's disgusting. Te'eva is the worst thing. Te'eva, it's abomination. The korban of a Rasha is abomination. So this guy, he prays, he's a Rasha, he prayed with fecal matter there. It's an abomination. Why did Rava say tefillah tefillah? Elam Rava answers, I'll tell you why. Even though he sinned, Alpha Pishispalal, tefillah say, Elam Rava, since he sinned, Alpha Pishispal tefillah te'eva. His tefillah doesn't count. This is te'eva. His tefillah is an abomination. It's not a good tefillah. So machlok is Rabba and Rava. If tefillah is a tefillah, or if it's not a tefillah, if it's an abomination.
Wait a minute. Well, we have a disconnect. We have Rishonim and someone who just did a sin. Someone who just did a sin, not necessarily a Rasha.
So the Gemara is implying that it doesn't mean that
could be a Beinoni, could be a
So he doesn't have to be a Rasha, but his prayer itself is a rishus. It's like his prayer itself is an abomination. His prayer itself is why that's not how you pray with fecal matter next to you. It's a rishus. He's not necessarily a Rasha, but they're learning from it that it's. In other words, what are we learning from the pasuk l'chai? What we're learning is you might think that a guy brings a carbon. He's a bad guy. He brings a carbon. Okay, his carbon's accepted. It's a nice carbon. We don't look at the fact that he happened to 3 weeks ago sinned. Right now, he did something nice. He brought a carbon. It's good. Says the pasuk, no. His carbon is not a good carbon. His carbon is disgusting. So we don't just look at the fact that you're praying, the fact that you brought a carbon. Hashem looks at the big picture. Who is the guy?
Yeah.
So since we look at the big picture, who's the guy? Don't say, okay, I prayed. I made a mistake. There was fecal matter there. No, you look at the big picture and you say, that's not a good carbon. That's not a good prayer. There was fecal matter there. It's disgusting. Your tefillah ain't good. You got to do it again. Now, do we say he prayed, he tried, it's good? This Rosh also tried to pray. He also tried to bring a carbon with good intentions. But since he's a Rasha, it's disgusting. Also, this guy that prays, he might not be a Rasha, but we're looking at the fact that Pasuk's telling me that you look at the whole. We look at the holistic, what's going on over here holistically. This guy is praying and there's fecal matter there, so tefillah is no good. But I like your kasha. It's a good kasha. It's a good kasha. I didn't see anyone specifically answering it. That's my territory. I don't know. Take it or leave it. Tanu Rabbanon. So take a look. By the way, take a look in Taisvus, Afapi, the second bottom Taisvus. If his tefillah is disgraceful, his tefillah is an abomination. What's the din? Afapi shespal tefillas teiva, ve'eve muvas lo yichol liskain. And you're a chayta. In other words, it's a chait. That's the pashtus. It's a sin. Intentional, non-intentional, you sinned, right? V'ri pirish, what Ri says, what does it mean? The yachzav yispalel. Since his tefillah is an abomination, daven again. You missed chakras. You didn't realize there was fecal matter there. Pray again. So it's a machlaikas. Is he allowed to pray again, or should he not pray again? What's he come tell me? It's first teva, therefore daven again, or therefore you sinned, you blew it. Too bad. Seems to be a machlaikas and taisvus. How you look at this guy? Tanabana, second bottom line. The Rishonim explain it doesn't mean that he's got a full flow of of urine. This guy's davening, and all of a sudden a few drops go down his leg. He feels drops coming down his leg, right? And urine is not the same thing, the Rishonim explain, as fecal matter. It doesn't smell in small quantities. There's no reach. It doesn't have the same level of disgust, whatever it is. So therefore he's praying, and a few drops come out. What should he do? Paisek, he should wait until the water disappears, until the fluids evaporate, or they get absorbed into his clothes, or into the ground, whatever's going on over there, however much it is. But it's absorbed. It can no longer, Taisa says, it can no longer make anything wet. In the lashon of the gemorah, there's two types of wetness. There's a wet that's tefech hamnaslat feach. It's so wet that you touch it, your hand's going to become wet and make something else wet also. And then there's just like a dampness. It's damp. It's not going to make you wet. It's damp. So you wet. So we're going to see Taisus in a second. So what should we? We should wait until it dries up. For chayzer mispal and carry on davening. For gemorah asla heichen chayzer. Where should he go back to? It's a machlekes between these two great people. One says you go to the beginning of davening, and one says from where you stopped. Let's just see Taisus before we go further. Taisus says, "Mantin ad sheyichlu hamayim." So Taisus says, "B'mashtin al gabe karka al gabe begodov." It's talking about, Taisus says, it could be, it's a tiny bit, it just gets absorbed by his clothes, or a little bit dripped down and it went to the floor. It's not enough, there's not enough liquids there to go further. It just creates a dampness. Came Pirsha of Yosef. Okay. Nira. Taisus says, even if there is a larger quantity of fluids, it's still mutter to daven. Kim de midoraisa einen asun ela keneged ha'omud bilvad. So midoraisa, urine does not make it also to pray, only feces. And therefore this guy, Midoraisa, he's allowed to daven. Rabbanan the Gazor, Rabbanan said you're not allowed to daven with even with urine. Since he's already davening, in other words, Midorabanan, they said, if you're in a place, you can't pray in urinals. Also Midorabanan. But if a guy's already praying, he started, and all of a sudden there's a bit of fluid there, he can carry on davening. He doesn't have to end it right then and there. Okay, so let's say the machlekes. There's a machlekes of Chisda and Reb Hamnuna. If he has to go back to the beginning of prayer, start from scratch, or he carries on from where he was. Right? He's in the middle of saying Maidim. All of a sudden he feels wet. Wait till it dries up, and then carry on from Maidim. So what's the machlekes? Let's assume that this is the machlekes. Masavar im shakadei ligmas kula chayzer reish. Or masava lemokesh pasak. There's a machlekes elsewhere in Shas, right? There's a machlekes elsewhere in Shas. If you're reading Megillah, and now you took a break, you had to stop. Now, there's two types of you stopping. One is you took a 30-second break, you had to stop. And one is you stopped for more than the length it would take you to finish reading the entire thing. So, if you took a 10-second break, carry on, no problem, right? But let's say you had to take a long break. I'll tell you in a second where it's Negeah. So then it's a machlekes. If it's a very long break that you could have said, you could have finished davening, you could have finished Ein Krishma, you could have finished Megillah, then that's called a proper hefsek, that's a real break, and you got to go from the beginning. Others say, no, it's fine, as long as you can, the other mandama says, doesn't matter, you still carry on from where you stopped. So, for example, a guy's saying Krishma, and all of a sudden he realizes he has to go to the bathroom, right? Or he passes through a Mokum Tanefis, he passes by a place, he passes by the garbage, he can't say Krishma anymore, right? There's a smell, he's not allowed to pray. So if it's a long walk, he's passing by this huge garbage place, he could have finished saying the whole Krishma, he's got to go back to the beginning, according to one Mandel. The other Mandel says, no, you go till the end, then you can, wherever you stop, that's where you carry on. That's l'chayr. So we can say that's the machlekes is going on over here. That he says you go to the beginning because you had to take this long break. The other mandama says, no, it's fine, take a long break. Even if you took a long break, you still carry on from where you are. So Amar Rav Ashi says that can't be. The gemorah should have said it depends on whether he waited or not. Im shah im leisha. If he waited a long time, go to the beginning. You didn't wait a long time, don't go to the beginning. The gemorah didn't say that. The gemorah just says, he says you go to the beginning, he says you carry on from where you are. The implication is that it's irrelevant how long you waited. You're going to tell me it depends on how long you waited. Should have said that. That's the whole machlekes here, right? Ella. Everyone agrees that if you waited for the amount of time that you could have said the whole thing, then you got to go back to the beginning. For Hossam, and over here this guy's davening and he starts feeling wet. But they're talking about a case where he didn't wait that long. He waited 10 seconds, right? The Ma Savar, the first shita holds Gavra de Chaz Yehu, Ve'ein Roy, Ve'ein Tvelas Te'eva. Since this guy, since the man is praying, he's got the urine already inside of him. He already has to make. He shouldn't have davened. He shouldn't have prayed. Therefore, tefillah ain't tefillah. It wasn't good tefillah. Even before it started dripping, it was inside of him. So his tefillah wasn't a good tefillah. He shouldn't have prayed. Go back to the beginning, therefore. Or ma'asava gaver chazihu. And the other madam hold gaver chazihu. V'tefillah is tefillah. It's fine. He was allowed to pray. So in other words, the machlekes is not whether, what's the machlekes, whether you have to go to the beginning or to the middle. Machlekes is whether this guy should have started praying in the first place. Was he allowed to pray? And Derech Agav, the place we want to bring a rye from here, that if you did take a long break, the Gemara says, the kula alma mshakadei ligmas kula chayzer roish. They want to bring a rye from here that, yeah, that's halacha l'maisa. If you took a long enough break to go back to the beginning, if you took a long enough break to finish the whole thing, you have to go back to the beginning. You hear that? So if you're davening Shmoneh Esrei, all of a sudden you're spacing out, you get a phone call, whatever it is, you're reading, you're not allowed to do this, obviously, but in the middle, all of a sudden there's a bad reach, you're davening Shmoneh Esrei, there's a bad smell, you can't daven now. So if it takes long enough, the smell doesn't go away, for long enough for you to finish all Shmoneh Esrei, 3 minutes, whatever it is, and you go back to the beginning. You can't carry on from where you stopped. Ma'asava tefillah se tefillah. Tana Rabbanan. Now we learned in the Brisa. It's a bit of a machlokes what we're talking about over here. Are we talking about here ketarim or gedolim, fluids or solids? Hanitzach l'nekevav al yispal. If a person needs to go to the bathroom, what should you do? Don't pray. You're not allowed to pray. If you prayed, tefillah se teva. If you prayed when you have to go to the bathroom, it's an abomination. It's not a tefillah, you're not yetza. We saw taisus machlokes. Do you have to pray again, or are you just an aveira? One of the two. It seems to be a machlokes if we're talking about achronim. Are we talking about here even if he needs to go to the bathroom for ketanim, or is it just for gedolim? Amr Zvid v'teim Rabbi Yehuda. When is this tefillah te'eva? When is it an abomination? That's if he can't hold it in. If this guy can hold it in, tefillah, then it's a good tefillah. Now, vadkama, how long do you have to be able to hold it in for? I hear you're all asking. Vadkama, Amrav Sheish is ad parsa. It's approximately for an hour. If you can hold it in for an hour, the length of time it takes to walk a parsa, then he's allowed to pray. So Rashi seems to imply here that he's allowed to pray tefillah if he can hold it in. Rashi seems to be saying lechatchila he's allowed to pray. In other words, you need to go to the bathroom in half an hour. You can pray, no problem. The first question is, why do they pick a shah? Why do they pick a parsa, an hour? If you can hold it in for an hour, you can pray. Well, what's the magic formula of an hour? So Chazal said they used to pray for an hour approximately. So the idea was, if you could hold it in for the amount of time you'd normally pray for, then you could pray. Now, if you're not going to have to run to the bathroom in the middle, then pray. If not, then don't. Then it's a teva. Then it's an abomination. That's how someone to understand it. Question is over here does this mean lechatchila b'diavad? Rashi seems to imply this. The Achronim understand Rashi. The mutar lahaschil b'tefillah. Take a look in Rashi vadkama. It's about parallel to where we are in the gemorah. Vadkama yochel lahamid atzah min hakayvev shei mutar lahaschil b'tefillah. How long do you have to be able to hold it in for? Do you allowed to start praying? Others want to be medayik from the lashon of the gemorah that the gemorah is not talking about lechatchila starting. The gemorah says tefillah. The implication is the b'di'evet it's a good tefillah, not the lechatchila you could pray. If you need to go to the bathroom in half an hour, go. Don't pray. The question is b'di'evet. What if you did it? Well, you say you should daven again. Tefillah, the mashmai says b'di'evet. Your prayer is good. If you can't, it's an abomination. You're not yetza, daven again. If you could hold it in, okay, it was wrong. You should have gone to the bathroom first. But guess what? You're yetza, it's tefillah. Rashi seems to be implying that the chatchila, go ahead and pray. Vadkama, I think most achronim agree that we're talking about ketanim, not for gedolim. If for gedolim, a person has to go to the bathroom either way. But for ketanim, then b'di'evet it's okay. Vadkama. Some learned this chiluk not as Rizvid and Rabbi Yehuda, but it said that in the Brisa. When the Brisa said there's tefillah te'eva, it says black and white only if it's a parsa, but not. Some learned that was actually what it said in the Brisa. And how much is tefillah? Rizvid that parsa. Rizvid said al parsa. Omar Shubban Achmeni. Omar Rav Yonasan. Hanitzach in the cave, if someone needs to go to the bathroom, how is a spell? Don't pray. Why should you not pray if you need to go to the bathroom? What does it say? It says in the pasuk, Hichun lekras Eloi hold on. Prepare yourself for the God of Israel, right? It's called preparations. Going to the bathroom, it's a preparation. So they say there's two mitzvahs. First of all, it's like preparation. It's like you're wearing it's like putting on a fancy levush. You're davening to the king, you should put on a big day tefillah. This is a big day tefillah. You got to clean yourself. And you're also not standing in front of God when you need a bathroom, right? What does this pasuk say? Guard your legs when you go to the house of prayer, right? What does that mean? Watch yourself that you don't sin. That's what it means. Watch yourself that you don't sin. If you do sin, have a carbon lefanov, bring a carbon. If you say you should bring a carbon, and listen, when you bring this carbon, don't bring a carbon the wrong way, bring a carbon the right way. What's the right way? Listening to Chazal. Listen to the rabbis, what the rabbis say. Amarava, what does that mean? Have a carbon lishmai de v'chamim, shimchaitim, if they sin, mevim carbon v'aisim tshuva. The Chacham say, when you bring a carbon, you don't just bring the carbon, you have to repent. That's what Chazal says, repentance. Matas aksilim zevach. The gift of the fools is al yuksik chsilim shechaitim avim carbon v'einas tshuva. Don't be like a fool who brings a carbon and doesn't do tshuva. The whole point of the bringing the sacrifice is to do tshuva. It's part of tshuva. So he's saying, the pasuk is telling us, you bring a carbon, you got to do tshuva. That's ki einim yodim lasas ra. The pasuk carries on. Ki einim yodim lasas ra. They don't know how to do evil. That's strange. So ihachi tzadikim ninu. They're not evil. If they don't know how to do evil, what do you mean? These people who have sinned, so they don't know how to do evil, means that that's tzadikim. What does this mean? Ihachi tzadikim ninu. Why they bring a carbon? They don't know evil, so they're good, they're righteous. Well, what's going on? The pasuk is very strange. Hello, carbon. Don't be like the fools who bring a carbon. They don't know why they bring a carbon. They come to the base of Mikdash, they bring a sacrifice. They don't know, is this a carbon? There's a few different types of carbonas. Carbon taida, a Thanksgiving carbon, the carbon of Pesach, there's carbon oila, they didn't do a mitzvah essay, the carbon chatas, carbon asham. It's not all for sinning. Most of the carbonas probably weren't for sinning, carbon taida, right? They don't know whether they're doing taiv or ra. They don't know what they're doing. They bring a carbon to me. So don't be like those people that bring a carbon, they don't know what they're doing. Know what you're doing. That's a hemshich of the pasuk. I guess the gemorah is only bringing it because we needed the beginning of the pasuk that says that you shouldn't be chayta when you come to shul. So take a look in Rashi. No, let's keep going, sorry. Rav Ashi v'temer of Chanina, bar Papa Amar. Shma nekavecha. Guard your nekavim, your insides. When you go to pray before me. So what does this mean? Take a look in Rashi here. Shma nekavecha. It's a different memra. So L'chayri is coming to tell me something else. Rashi says, Shmona kavecha mebein raglecha k'mai lahaseches raglav. So Rashi explains, Shmona kavecha shlo yafichu. You've got to guard your insides that you shouldn't let out gas. That's what Rav Papa is telling me. Pas is not allowed to pass gas, pass wind when he's praying. Tonar banan. Anichnas lebeis hakisei chayletz tefillah. A person that enters the bathroom, this is very relevant if a guy is traveling, he's by himself, he hasn't got anyone to hold his bag, he's in the airport. What do you do with your tefillin bag? What do you do with your bag? You're traveling with tefillin. So the Gemara says, before you go to the bathroom, take off your tefillin 2 meters away, then go into the bathroom. When do you have to take off your tefillin? Before you go to the bathroom. That's if it's a basic kizek kvua. a basic kvise that people has been used already for gdolim. A basic kvise, all right, but if it's a temporary basic kvise, he can go to basic kvise immediately. You don't have to wait the arba amas. So what's going on over there? What's the difference between basic kvise ara and basic kvise kvua? Basic kvise kvua is a bathroom that's already been used for gdolim. People have already used this basic kvise. Basic kvise ara means he's in the forest. No one's gone to the bathroom there. He's about to go. That's called basic kvise ara. It hasn't been used yet. Or the guy builds you a bathroom in your house. It's never been used yet. It's a basic kvise ara. So if it's kavua, so wait. If it's arai, if it's kavua, you have to wait arba amas. If it's arai, you can go straight away. You don't have to take it off 4 amas beforehand. Ibailu, here's a big question. They asked, is this guy allowed to go into basic kisa kavua? You're allowed to go into the bathroom to pass water. Are you allowed to go to the bathroom to pass water? And the answer is, Ravina Shari Ravada Bamasna Asar. It's a machlaikas. If a guy's allowed to go to the bathroom to pass water, basically it's a kvua. Asa Shaila Larava, they asked Rava, Amalu Asa. He said, it's Asa. Why? Why can you not go into the bathroom? Chayshin and Shema Yifne Ban. We're worried. If he goes to the bathroom with his tefillin on, all of a sudden he'll need the bathroom. What's he going to do? He'll go to the bathroom for Gedalim. Not just to pass water. You know what? He might, doesn't mean Shema Yifne B'hem, Shema Yafech B'hem. He might pass gas. So in other words, he's not allowed to go to the bathroom with his tefillin on his head because either we're worried, Gzeira, he might pass gas, or he might end up, I need the bathroom, we'll go to the bathroom. He won't have time to take off his tefillin. He's already there. So notice that till now we were talking about this guy's praying, right? It seems to be when he's praying, if he has to go to the bathroom, even if a few drops of urine come out, he has to stop. But if he's wearing tefillin, he doesn't have to. He's mikra din, right? It's a gzeira. He's not allowed to because maybe he'll go to the bathroom, maybe he'll pass gas. But mikra din, he's allowed to go to the bathroom with tefillin, pass water with his tefillin on his head. He doesn't have to take it off every time he passes water. So Tanya Edich, the other mandama said, "Hanichnas lebeza kisei kavua chaylet tefillin bericha karba amas." Anytime you have to go into the bathroom, you got to take off the tefillin 4 amas away. What should you do with your tefillin? Menicham b'chalim, put it in the window. Put it. They used to have a window outside the bathroom. Put it in the window on the side of the Rishus Harabim. When you leave, get 2 amas away, 4 amas away, and then put on the tefillin. That's what Beis Shammai says. But Beis Hillel argues. Beis Hillel says, you hold the tefillin in your hand and go to the bathroom. Rabbi Kiva says, don't hold it in your hand. It's not covered for the tefillin to hold in your hand while he's in the bathroom. Wrap it up in your clothes, and then go to the bathroom. What, you wrap it up in your backhead? That's not a good idea. He might stand up and it's going to fall to the ground in the bathroom. That's not a good idea. Hold it in your hand through the clothes. It's got to be held in your hand, but hold it through your clothes. He should put it in the window in the bathroom. Don't put the tefillin in the window facing the Rishus Harabim. Outside, why? If you leave your tefillin outside, at the window outside, he's in the bathroom, someone will come by and take it. It's interesting, this gemorah, I didn't see pshat yet. We're worried that there's people will be chaysh at him. I mean, why don't we just worry that someone's going to steal his tefillin and they'll be mezazle, it costs them money, not a good idea. It seems to be also only because of the chshad. What's the chshad? There's a story. There's Talmud. He left his tefillin in the window outside the bathroom. And some harlot came and she took the tefillin. Then she came to the base of Medrash and she said, look, Look what this one of you yeshiva guys paid me. He gave me his tefillin as payment. So since this Talmud heard what happened, he went to the rooftop, fell and died. I guess his life was ruined, right? So Chazal made a takana. They don't want people stealing the tefillin, dangerous stories. What should you do? They were masakin. You're allowed to wrap it up in a baguette and go to the bathroom with it. Hold it. Okay, we're going to have to end over here. We'll finish tomorrow. Be'ezrat Hashem. Thank you very much. Wow, I didn't realize how late it is.